Hey, Wade with Trade ATS here, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this short demo and see what it is exactly that we do here at Trade ATS. So that being said, I'm going to give you a quick tour of our products, our services, and what you would be able to expect if you were invited to join Trade ATS. So let's get right into it. So at Trade ATS, we offer services in four main categories. Those categories are charting software, education, community, and funding. These four different categories and the resources we offer, we feel are absolutely vital and necessary to the success of anyone that wants to trade for a living. So that being said, I'm going to go through each one of these categories and show you exactly what it is that we have to offer and how our program works. So typically one of the biggest draws and reasons why traders want to join Trade ATS is to get access to our proprietary chart mapping software. So that's what we're looking at right here. This is our TradingView version of ATS, or Action Threshold Software. It's what actually ATS stands for. So we have our software for TradingView. We have it for MetaTrader 4 as well. There's some slight differences between the two different versions, which we'll get into in a moment. And we're actually currently building our own Trade ATS charting platform. So that is in the works as well. It's very exciting and it should be available shortly. So ATS has a ton of awesome features. There's a bunch of different strategies that you could build on top of ATS as a stable platform. But for right now, I'm just going to take you through the main use case. This is by far how most of our traders use ATS. So we call it the basic strategy, and it's very simple. I could explain it to you right now in a few minutes. So if we're looking at our setup here, I have three different charts. We have a 5-minute chart right here. We have a 1-hour chart and a 4-hour chart over here. We use these two charts to basically tell us what direction we need to be trading in. We always want to go in the higher time frame flow of money in that direction. Why do we want to do that? Because the banks control the higher time frames. They do not get in and out very quickly. They do if they're doing high frequency trading, but for proprietary trading purposes, they are going to take time to enter their positions and exit. So they need time to scale in, time to scale out. That's how all the big moves take place. So we always want to follow the higher time frame footprint. So doing that, we see that the hour has just come out of this box. That's a great sign. This is a contraction box. We love these boxes because we know when we get out of those boxes, volatility is coming into the market. You can see very shortly after we started to go into a big move to the downside. Same way we went into a big move to the upside right here. So we love knowing when we're coming out of the contraction phase or when we're leaving a box, because that means that opportunity is just around the corner. So as we come out of that box, you can see that we have this other indicator right here with this yellow dot. This is what we call ATS trend. Now, what you need to know about this is that it's the most sophisticated trend indicator that you can get. There's nothing else even remotely close to it. The reason why it's so special is because it follows market inefficiency candle by candle. It's not based on a moving average. It's not based on anything that has a setting. And in fact, none of the ATS software has any settings that you can tweak. That means that it's always consistent, it's always the same, which is critical to repeatability in your process, in your trading process. So ATS trend, you literally set it on there and it shows you the most predominant trends that are emerging, and it does it all on the sound basis of spotting that initial inefficient market that kicks off every big move. And we can see that right here as it's represented. So as that move gets kicked off, this line will continue to follow these candles down until we trade the other way and create an inefficiency in the opposite direction. So as we are trading below this, what that's telling us in simple terms is that you need to sell the market. So you don't necessarily just want to sell the market right at this moment, but you want to find a safe entry on the lower time frame. The way that we do that is we find fair market value. And that's very easy to do. We look at this last box right here and we see that we have what we call an expansion line or a value line coming out of that box. Now, since the overall flow of money on the hourly basis is headed down, we are expecting that the outcome of this box, even before all this happens, is that the distribution or the third market, the trend phase, is going to be to the downside. We have a preconceived expectation that this type of activity is going to happen pretty soon after we break out of this smaller box. So with this fair market value right here, we know that there's going to be some traders that think that this is going to be the turn. They see that we've been trending down a little bit, but they're going to start buying the market right here. Probability is not in their favor. And we want to use their buying volume to match, to sell to that volume, just like the banks do. We're always trading in step with best practices and how the banks make their money. So these traders are trying to buy something that is overvalued in a declining market. What we want to do is we want to sell something that is overvalued in a declining market. We know it's overvalued because it's above this line. So as we sell to those traders that are buying, doing the opposite, we are in a much better position to get in the money, coming back to fair market value. And that's usually our base expectation, is that we would sell above this line and just get from here to here. That's what we call a base hit. Now, why is that important? Because if you can make the risk management and the math work just coming from here to here to get in the money, a lot of our traders just take base hits. They'll just take a profit coming to this line. But ideally what we want to do is we want to get down to the line. You can see that we gapped through value, then held below on these wicks, and then it really started the big run, which we call the distribution phase. This is the gravy. So you could think of this as your base hit, just coming back to value, and then if you hold below value, this is where you could potentially make a lot more money on that extended run. So, but the whole goal is to trade safely. We have a clearly defined trend, and we know that there's a very high probability that we're going to get from anywhere in here back to value and put you into the money. Because once you're in the money, you have choices. You could decide how long you want to stay, or if you just want to take that base hit and go live your life. That's up to you. And there's going to be some skill and some feel that you're going to need to develop to understand what you need to do at the moment. So there will be some time that it takes to judge which ones to stay in and which ones to just take off the table and wait for the next one. So that being said, that is the basic way for how people use ATS. Now, we have other lines here. These are called order block projections. Again, this is proprietary to us. You're not going to find anything like this. You could think of these as similar to Fibonacci extensions. The difference is that these are based on the range that the market makers have established themselves. As we come out of this box, we establish an expansion range. That would be this low currently to this high. So when we came through this low, we take a measurement from this high to this low and we extend that down and we put an order block projection there. The idea is that when the market goes into its distribution phase or the profit-taking phase for the banks, they are going to go at least one standard deviation or 100% above or below their expansion range. So what that translates into is that we use these as profit targets. So you could see that as we traded up, we had a previous order block projection right here. We didn't want to quite get above that. That shows that there's still weakness in the market. So you can see we're trading under that. You enter in this neighborhood right here, and you have an expectation that you're going to get back to fair market value. And then when we get through fair market value, this is a profit target that you could look to take profits at. And it's usually going to be a huge gain compared to the risk of entering up here in association with this order block projection. So you can see this is an excellent tool to project where you want to exit for maximum profit in each trade that you take. Over here, you can see that we have what we call liquidity lines. These are these yellow dotted lines and the blue dotted lines right here. And essentially what these represent is traders' stop losses. Every time you come through a liquidity line, you get a corresponding liquidity line. And so we'll take this, for instance, right here. You can see that we came up through the sell liquidity line, and simultaneously we got a liquidity line down here representative of this low. What that means is that as traders bought coming through here, we want to know where they're going to be in pain in the future, because no one ever closes their trades in max profit. Most people think it's never going to stop and they just overstay their welcome. So we want to map out the pain threshold of the market in general. So we know that as traders are breaking out, they're buying above these highs, that if price were to come back as it is now down to this level, there's going to be liquidity released at that level from their stop losses. So these levels basically just represent those stop loss levels or those pain thresholds. Now, why are we super interested in those levels? Because that's where all the discount liquidity that the banks are after, that's where it is. It's at those stop loss levels. The market is a zero-sum game. In order for you to win, someone else unfortunately has to lose. That's the way it is. So it's very advantageous for you to understand where traders are losing, where are they getting stopped out. And liquidity lines are going to show you those exact levels. So everything on ATS as a whole, what it's doing is not only do you have a basic strategy to follow, which is trading in momentum, overvalued, undervalued entry, depending on the trend direction, but what you really have here is you have a static map between showing you fair market value, showing you liquidity in the market, showing you order block projections, showing you ATS trends, showing you the real-time inefficiencies as the trends unfold. All together, you have something that shows you a map that you can follow that gives you clues as to where the next big move is going to be. So as you become a better ATS trader, you'll understand how to navigate that map, look at the clues that it's telling you, and you could follow that map to the potential treasure that we're all seeking. Sometimes you'll get it right, sometimes you will get it wrong. But the idea is that if you know all the sensitive levels in the market, that you can calculate your risk reward and you can go after the setups that are highly favorable, that have low risk, because no one at the end of the day can predict what's going to happen in the market. We could just look at the clues and then we can trade safely with good risk management and best practices in mind. A big question that a lot of people ask when they're looking at ATS software is, what can I actually use this on market-wise? So what markets can I trade? What is the expansion pattern? What is all this stuff? What is it effective on? And the great news is it works on everything on every single time frame. The only thing it doesn't work on well is markets that have extremely low volume. These are going to be like penny stocks that they're not going to move unless they get some sort of stock promotion or something like that. But anything that has a lot of volume, I'm talking Tesla stock, I'm talking euro dollar, of course, I'm talking Amazon, Apple, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it, anything that is heavily traded, the patterns that we go after, that ATS embodies, are price action patterns based off of the master pattern, which is the pattern that embodies all patterns. So anything where you have traders that have beliefs, and you got to have some belief, you're not going to put in a trade unless you believe you're going to make money. We are really tracking those beliefs and the breaking point of those beliefs, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. What really matters is who's winning and who's losing. And if you're going to win in this game, you need to understand how others are going to lose so you can do the opposite. That's really all that matters in trading. So if we have a market that has a lot of volume, we know that there's going to be traders transacting in that market, and that these patterns that we follow that are very stable, very predictable, are going to present themselves, and we're going to be able to trade those markets effectively. So we have a lot of traders that are trading Forex. That is by far, most of our traders are trading Forex. A lot of traders just trade euro dollar and do great with that. But we also have traders that are coming in to trading futures. There's a lot of traders going towards futures these days. We have traders that are trading stocks, not as many because we're primarily known for Forex, but we have traders all over the map doing all kinds of different things using ATS. So whatever the use case that you want to apply it to in the markets, chances are that you're going to be way better off looking at ATS as opposed to looking at all the other traditional indicators that everyone else is looking at and typically losing a lot of money with. All right, so now we're going to take a quick look at our MetaTrader 4 version of our ATS indicator suite. And everything pretty much is identical to TradingView, with the exception that we have a few more indicators on MetaTrader 4. So starting with down here, this is our retail sentiment indicator. What that means is that this is basically telling us whether retail traders in their live accounts, this is taken from a live actual real account data, whether they are net long or net short, which is great information to have. So you could see that as retail traders as the oscillator here goes below the 0 line, we can see that traders are getting net short. When it's above, we know that they are net long. What do we want to do generally when it comes to retail traders? We want to trade opposite of them. So we use the data from these real traders accounts to make sure that we are on the opposite side of what traders are doing en masse, because we know en masse 95% plus are going to lose over time. So this just gives us extra confirmation to know that we are making the right decision and really confirming that our trades are going to work out well. So in addition to the retail sentiment indicator, we also have ATS Assistant. This is our real-time signal generator. And what this does is it takes different events that happen on ATS software. This could be coming through a liquidity line or coming through what we call an institutional level, which you'll learn more about in the program. Trend line momentum, trend line proximity. You can see we have the different signals right here. And what it does is it's able to monitor currency pairs on specific time frames for essentially trade setups. Now, do we want to use this as a blind buy and sell signal generator tool where we just get in when it says to get in? No, it's an assistant. So what it's doing is it's qualifying the market for specific criteria that you set according to the types of trades you like to take using ATS. And it notifies you when you come into that criteria so you could go take a look and see whether that's a trade that you want to interact with or not. We liken trade setups to customers if you have a traditional business. Let's say that you sell cars, okay, for lack of a better example. If you're a car salesman, would you want to engage with a customer that comes into your dealership and says, I don't have any money, I don't even need a car right now, I just want to look around? Would you be very eager to spend a lot of time with that person and say, let's go on a test drive, let me see, what can I do today to get you in a new car? No, because they're not a great qualified customer. Whereas if someone comes in and says, I need a car, I'm desperate for one today, I have money, I'm ready to go, what can you show me? You definitely want to spend time with that customer because there's a high likelihood you'll be able to transact and make money from the sale, right? So we look at opportunities in the market similar. Not all opportunities are equal. The way the setups happen at the different triggers are going to happen in different levels of quality. And that's what we have right here. We have grade A and we have grade B signals. Grade A signals are the very first signals when we get a new trend direction change. So they're early, they have the best upside potential, but then also typically the smallest downside potential. But not all of them work out. Sometimes they fall apart quickly, and then we have a small risk in that case. Whereas grade B are going to be signals that come through in a more established trend typically. So we have the signal grading, but even with that, you want to make sure that you understand best practices of ATS. You want to make sure you understand the baseline methodology of how all this works. And then when you use this tool, you use this as a tool to save you time. No one likes just staring at charts that are going sideways. You don't need to. You use ATS Assistant to notify you via the MetaTrader 4 mobile app, or you can look at the real-time readout to tell you when a new signal has come into criteria, when that market's ready to be looked at. Another great thing is that this saves you a bunch of time and situations where you might get tempted to trade trades that are not ideal. Maybe they're close to being set up, but it's not really the best setup. It really hasn't hit the price level that you need it to hit. And sometimes those can lure us into the market because we're simply bored. This eliminates all that. You set it, you let it notify you, and that way you're only interacting with situations that are already in criteria. They've hit the levels that they need to hit. All they need is your expert opinion and your understanding to formulate your risk management and where you're looking to take profits based on that specific opportunity. So you'll be able to see a real-time readout of the different types of signals, whether it was a grade A or grade B. You could see the time frames, all the data associated with the signal, and then you could also see how long it's been since the signals came through, and also the real-time positioning. Sometimes we'll have a signal that came in 2, 3, 4, 5 hours before, and you'll look at it, but it's still well set up. It's still at that great price level, but what's even better is you have more confirmation now. So you could even look at past signals. Let's say if you've had the ATS assistant running overnight, and you might see that there's 3 or 4 different signals here that are still in great criteria. They're still close to the strike price of the original signal, and they have more confirmation now. So you have that real-time readout that you could go after, but you could also qualify the opportunities as they come in, and they will go straight through to your MetaTrader 4 app if you have it set up that way, which is very simple to do. So obviously what we do here at ATS is very unique. In fact, no one really does anything close to what we do when it comes to methodology and software. That being said, we're going to need to have some pretty unique educational resources to bring traders up to speed on our methodologies, how to use our software, so on and so forth. So I want to give you a quick sneak peek what you see once you are invited to join ATS, so you can have some idea of how we educate traders. So we have a whole plethora of different courses back here, but I'm only going to point out a few just so you know where you need to go if you are invited to join Trade ATS to get started. So you want to go to New to Trade ATS, get started here. This will give you some basic information, how to interact with us, how to get support, things like that. But you could also see that we have courses for installing ATS on TradingView and also installing ATS for MetaTrader 4. Whether you want to use one or both, that's up to you. They're both available here in your subscription. And so yeah, if you want to use both, that's great. We have a lot of traders who do that. If you want to just use one, it's totally up to you. The first big course that you're going to want to go through in its entirety is right here, ATS Methodology Mastery. This course shows you everything that you need to know in order to use the actual ATS software. It's going to teach you about every single component, meaning the liquidity lines, the contraction boxes, the expansion lines, ATS trend, institutional levels, all the details of not only what those lines mean, but generally how to use those lines within best practices or the basic strategy as we call it. So this is going to bring you up to speed on how to use the actual chart mapping software. We have some of our legacy trainings. These are also available on YouTube, but we include them there as well. And then we also have some strategy-based videos here showing you how to interpret the master pattern in different ways, how to use that to come up with trading ideas. And then we also have the basic strategy presentation here as well. So that will teach you in detail how to implement the basic strategy, which is identifying momentum on the higher time frames and then identifying a overvalued or undervalued entry on your lower time frame according to fair market value. So that's everything you need to learn in these different categories here inside Methodology Mastery. So let's go back out here. The next thing that I'm going to show you is our ATS Assistant course. We have a whole course dedicated on how to use that tool, which you'll want to go through in its entirety if you want to use ATS Assistant. It talks about timeframes and directional bias, strategy triggers, grade A versus grade B signals, best practices, and also we show you exactly how to get it all set up and dialed in so that you are using it properly and you will get the best results from using the tool. Let's go ahead and go back out here. The next thing is our webinar registration and archive right here. Inside the webinar archive, you're able to get our current webinar link for what we call our ATS Principles webinar. This is where we go over live trade setups. We answer your questions in real time. We'll talk about trading ideas, things that have happened in the market over the last week or so. But we do these webinars typically every single week. So you can join that, ask your questions live. But we also have a webinar archive. We have several of them. We literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of past webinars that you can watch at your leisure and learn more in depth about ATS methodology. You'll find that there's a lot of themes that echo because we really just pound in the best practices over and over again because we feel it's kind of our main job is just to get people to follow the rules of the overall system and best practices because that's what's going to keep them safe. That's what's going to get them profitable. That's really what these webinars are really mostly about. But if you do have a trading idea or something that you want us to look at in real time, you're able to put those in the comments and we're able to look at those for you. Now, if you're not super familiar with how to use MetaTrader 4 or TradingView, we have platform tutorials as well. So right here, you can see we have only what you need to know to use MetaTrader 4 and only what you need to know to use TradingView. So if you just need to get educated on how to put in a trade, how to set a stop loss, if you're just new to trading in general, then these are definitely going to help you out for sure. And then right here, we have support resources and everything else. This is just extra resources. It's a place where you could go to get support from us and talk with us, whatever you need, any help you would need, we're always there for you. You have dedicated email, a support email for all members that you can take advantage of. If you want to send us in questions about trading ideas that you have, if you want commentary on those ideas, if you need help with software, whatever you need, you can send us a request into support, and then we will get back to you typically within the day. It just depends on the current volume. So we are always accessible to you for any questions you may have while you're in our program. The next thing I'm going to talk about is our community. Community is super important to us, and it's a great resource for you. So that way you can learn to trade alongside with other like-minded traders that are all focused on the same methodology. That's super important. And that's what's different from us and other trading groups that you could go into. Those trading groups, people are trying to share a bunch of different ideas from a bunch of different types of systems, whereas in ATS, everybody is focused on doing essentially the same thing. They're all focused on finding trend direction, trading the basic strategy, and using the ATS indicators to maximize their results. Everybody in there is aligned in how they are trading, and also that provides a great place for you to learn and get brought up to speed very quickly. So if you go right here to Trading Floor Community in the website, you'll have to register first, but you'll go through and then that'll register you into this. This is essentially like a private Facebook group, but this is where you'll be able to go in. You'll be able to post your own comments and start threads on different topics. You can share trade ideas. Other people share their trading ideas. We discuss them. People share their wins. If they had a great trade or they had anything that happens good in their life, we always encourage them to share it in here as well. But it's just a great collaborative space. You can see we have trading ideas in here, people talking about trading Forex to futures. A lot of traders are going to futures recently, especially because the prop firm industry has gotten shaken up a little bit with MetaQuotes withdrawing their platforms. Just recently happened. But no worry, we've got a lot of people going to futures. Talk about different parts of ATS software. There's just a whole bunch of great conversations that happen here, and you'll find that our community is insanely supportive, great people. We attract the most amazing traders in the industry, and they're very unselfish. They're more than happy to jump in, help you with technical issues even, help you with methodology. And I have people that have been in here with me before ATS even existed. 10, 12 years have been trading with me, following this methodology, have seen every iteration of ATS software over the last 10 years or so. So there's a wealth of knowledge that you'll get from people inside this group. So it's a great resource to take advantage of. So the next and last resource we're going to talk about that you get if you're invited to join Trade ATS is funding through our prop firm, ATS Capital Partners. Now, our prop firm operates very differently than most every other prop firm out there in the fact that we only offer funding to ATS members. Our prop firm is here purely as a resource to our traders, meaning that we don't care about advertising it to the mass market and making a bunch of money off of evaluations. We can care less about that. It is simply here because we identify it as a very important component to the longevity of a trader's success. Let me explain that for a moment. If you have a small account, which a lot of people getting into this industry have a very small account that they start with, usually $500, $1,000 is usually most people's starting capital. The problem with that is that these people that are getting into this business all have bills. They have things that they're responsible for to pay for that put pressure on them. And typically, a lot of people can't afford to risk any amount of money, let alone $1,000 or $5,000, or definitely anything more than that is most people's situation. Not saying that that's your specific situation, that's just the average. So what prop funding has done is it's given people that have small amounts of money to start an account with the ability to say, forget it, I'm just going to keep my money where it is, but I'm going to build the skill of learning how to trade. And when I'm ready, then I'm going to try to qualify for prop funding or a much bigger account size that I could manage because you've earned the right to do so. That is powerful if it's used responsibly. So at ATS, we want to make sure that we provide that resource to our traders so that they can use it responsibly to increase their earning power, as opposed to being pressured to over leverage their small account. Because what we know through the data and after working with literally thousands of traders, the number one killer of a new trader is temptation of over leveraging their small account simply because they need to make money faster. That ends up being a massive problem for a lot of traders, and it wipes out account after account simply because they're just in such a desperate spot that they need to make money. So prop firm funding really eliminates that to where someone can just focus on the skill, and they know that when they're ready, when they've done the hard work of getting the skill, it's the most important part, that they can go get the money. Believe me when I say, prop firm or not, if you build the skill to trade, especially the way we show you, the money will find you. You need to focus on the skill at first, not the money. Money will always be there for a qualified good trader. So that being said, the way that we run the prop firm is that we have it set up to basically just pass on those resources to you. And how it works is that ATS Capital Partners is partnered with a parent, much bigger firm called Prop Account LLC. Now, a lot of other prop firms are not going to tell you this. They try to position it as the prop firm is our money, like they're taking money out of their pocket to fund you. In most cases, that is not the case. They are tapping into a much bigger infrastructure and positioning it as if it's their money. We're not doing that. We run everything transparently with our prop firm. We are partnered with a much bigger firm that is ready to fund traders with live accounts. It's another important part. A lot of the other prop firms out there will say you can qualify to manage fine print simulated capital, meaning that if you pass, you pay, you pass their whatever their valuations are, their rules, whatever, they're actually just going to give you another demo account. And then when you have that demo account, if you want to withdraw any money, because they never really expect you to withdraw any money, but should you happen to actually pass, they are going to take money from other people's failed evaluations and pay you, because that's the only money they have to pay with. So that's not what we do. Our parent fund, Prop Account LLC, uses real accounts. So when you get a $100,000 account, you're getting $100,000 of real money deposited into a live account going to real market execution. So that's very important to know from a sustainability place and just a good business place that you're actually participating in a real prop firm that is giving you real money. So I want to make that very clear. It's very important to us that you understand how this works and you understand our place in the market. We are here as a liaison between you and these resources. We have no incentives to try to hide anything from you like other prop firms. We want to be upfront with the regulatory environment. Things are changing in this environment in the prop firm business. Unfortunately, there are a lot of bad actors in the business and they can ruin things for people. So while it is a great resource, we always want to be on the lookout for if there is a potential problem coming down the line. We want to be transparent with you. So anything that we hear from our parent prop firm, we literally pass that information on to you so that you know what the deal is at all times. You understand the risks with taking evaluations. You understand the risks with getting funded, keeping funding, all that. And that way you can make an educated decision on what it is that you want to do, which is very, very, very important for a lot of reasons. So that's where we come from when it comes to the prop firm. It is a resource that we maintain. We maintain the relationship and the infrastructure on our end for the partnership, and we pass on all that stuff to you so that you get a very clean way to access real capital. So that being said, the way it works is that funded traders will make between 75 and 90%. We have immediate funding of live accounts upon passing a one-step evaluation. There are no set time frames, except you need to make one trade per month, per 30 days to stay in active status. You could trade Forex, indices, popular stocks, precious metals, and over a number. It's actually gone down a little bit, but you could trade crypto. You could trade all these different things. Most of our traders focus on Forex. I'm going to tell you that's really the majority. So we really don't care about the stocks and all those kinds of things. We have a few people that trade gold, but most people trade Forex. You have 10-to-1 leverage on the accounts, and that is how that works. Here's our evaluations. You have 25K, 50K, 100K, 250, and 500K. These are the fees to take those evaluations. 5K for a $500,000 account, $250 for a 25K account. And our rules are very simple. You have a 10% profit target to pass, a 6% max drawdown from your high watermark. So if you, let's say, build a $100,000 account to $106,000, you roughly don't want to go below $100,000. So your high watermark, wherever the highest closed balance is on the account, can't go below 6%. And you have a 5% max daily drawdown. So don't ever want to lose more than 5% in any one single day. We always encourage you to stay very far away from these max drawdowns. We don't want to use these accounts as a way to gamble in the market. We want to use them responsibly. We want you to get one evaluation, and if it takes you 3 months or 6 months to pass that evaluation, so be it. Don't lose money. Get the funding. Keep the funding. That's the goal here, is to actually get you where you can make long-term, sustained progress using funding as a resource. So that's the basics of how the program works. It's very straightforward. And going down right here, we're going to talk about something that's really cool that's unique to us. We have what's called the Kickstart Funding Challenge. This is a program that is always available. You could do this an unlimited amount of times. What this allows you to do is it allows you to request a $25,000 demo evaluation. It works just like a paid evaluation. It's identical. The difference is we give it to you for free. If you pass this demo evaluation, we have a few added stipulations, meaning you need to have a minimum of 15 trading days, meaning 15 days you open to trade on. It could be over the course of 45 days or 60 days, but we need to see 15 active trading days. And we need to see some relative consistency in your lot sizing. And there's a range. We judge that based off of each person that passes it. But if you follow those added requirements, we see that you're not gambling, you're not trying to game the system, then if you pass, we will buy you a $25,000 real evaluation. Then if you pass that, however, there's no added stipulations once you get to that evaluation. You just need to hit the 10% mark. If you pass that one, then you get a real $25,000 funded account. This is a no-cost funding path for all ATS members. And you can do this an unlimited amount of times. Within 15 days, you can't request a Kickstart account within 15 days of getting another one. So we do have a limit to that. So you want to make sure that if you request one, there's at least 15 days that pass before you request a new one. But that's really it. The idea is that anyone that has joined ATS that's an active member can continually, even if they don't have a ton of other money, can always be working towards funding. It's included in the membership. So even if you can't afford a $500,000 evaluation or a $250,000 evaluation, you can, if you're willing to do the work and build the skill, can always be working on a Kickstart account. And if you can pass that initial evaluation, then we will be happy to buy you a $25,000 evaluation, no cost to you. You pass that, you get funded. Now you make some money with that $25,000 account, and then you can purchase evaluations up above that. But the idea is to make sure that every trader that is an ATS member has access to the proper resources that allows them to safely scale up and make money in a sustainable way. We do not want you to lose any money in our program. We want everybody to be able to be in this for the long term and be able to really get true success in this business, not today, not this week, but over the course of the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We want you to be able to build a career, and this is where it all starts. So that is how the ATS membership works, and that is what we have to offer you. As you can tell, we highly care about people and we care about their success. This is a difficult business. Not everyone is going to make it. That's just the facts. But anyone that wants to come into ATS that's a good fit for our program, we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward. We give them the truth of the business and we give them a very good environment to give them the best possible chance for success. And more importantly, we want to make sure that you don't lose money going down all the other rabbit holes that other people go down literally for years and years, just wasting money and time. We want to avoid all that and get you on the path that you need to be on to build a real lasting skill set for the long term. That being said, we are not desperate to bring people into ATS. We are only interested in having people in our program that understand what the deal is, understand who we are, what we're about, and are a really good fit. For that reason, we have a pre-qualification process, and that's going to be the form down below this video. If you like our message, you feel good about it, then I would welcome you to go through the form. It's very simple. It's asks you a few questions, not difficult, but we want to make sure that you understand what we're about and that you're a good candidate depending on how you answer that form. If you answer everything correctly, then you will be passed through and you'll have the opportunity to become a member of Trade ATS. I'm not going to tell you how much it costs. What I can tell you is it's very cheap. Very, very inexpensive compared to the amount of value that we bring, especially with the Kickstart Challenge and our software tools. You can't get them anywhere else. No one has anything close to the technology we have when it comes to technical analysis. So I can tell you that it's very cheap. It's a month-to-month program that is accessible for everyone. So if you're ready to come work with us, go ahead, fill out the form below, and I can't wait to see you and work with you on the other side.